decided to get updated when we're about to have a meeting, and that's something that you can't really control. I just hope people still join. Please pardon me for that. We never intended to start this late. Check. Okay. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the meeting is being recorded. As usual, I think you get a video once the cleaning and uploading is done. I just hope I just hope okay. Please. Last time we met, we have started talking about basically the auto feature, okay, and we said auto basically changes make the changes to the already existing database. Before we go any further, can I just confirm with everybody, if at all you can see my screen, you can also hear me clearly? Can I get the confirmation? Funny. Okay, good. Okay. Right. So we continue with where we left off. Okay. So basically, I think we went as far as that. So with a database, we use the date format of year, month, and day, because that is an American standard. Okay, so I think this is one thing that we did discuss at some point, how to populate the database. We say create a table, the table name, then we put those columns there. Okay, student ID, for example, which is an int. We don't specify the length for the int because one of the reasons could be int has the range on its own from what you learned in programming. But the name, variable character, how many characters do we want for that? Let me admit someone. Okay. Perfius, welcome.
Thank you.
Right. I just hope you guys are watching the recorded sessions. Okay, so with that being said, um, we create those columns: school enrolled, variable character 20, and the like. Then we put a semicolon there, and if we say select all, we are going to get something like that. Okay, student ID, first name, last name, school enrolled. So to populate the database, we basically say set insert into, okay, then the database name. I mean the table name. What is our table name? Our table name is students. Then we say one there will be basically the int, that one. So the first column is the int. The second column is the first name, last name, and a school enrolled. And that's what we are saying. So first name, Mlenga. Second name, Kasongo School of Engineering. And all these must be string separated by commas. Okay, so this is the first the first column. Second column, for example, 2 will be the int Chawezi, a last name there, computer science, a school enrolled, Nyambe Sepiso, a computer science, Chileshe, Chileshe, Walia, computer science, and the like. So the last part, all these must be in their respective bracket there. So column number 1 contain every information that we need. For example, depending on how many columns we want, each person needs to have the student ID, the first name, the last name, and uh, um, and school enrolled. And this is what we're doing. So we'd have put even 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. And we are going to have something like that. Okay. So to insert data within limited column types. Okay. Basically something like that. So when we say select all, this is the star from student, we're gonna have something like that. And how do we update the now gap type? I think I'll talk about this in a minute. So to update there, we just use the keyword update. Okay. So update the table you want to update, the table name. Then you say set. Okay. What column do you want to set? For example, set school in row. That's the column we want to update. Okay. So first of all, you say update. Update means making changes and to the already existing column. So what we are saying is update table name. Then you set the column you want to set to some value. Okay, where now you have to specifically mention what you want to do. You want the student ID in this to set to 5. Okay, so if you say select all from student, basically what we are saying is, first thing we said is okay. So first thing we said was update table name, then the set school enrolled, which is this guy, okay, to CSC. So we want this column to be updated to CSC, which is that part, okay. Then we say student ID. So we now go to student ID and do 5 there. So when you look at the table here, basically we have a now value there, but we want to put some value. So that is basically what we are doing. Okay, so to this student ID 5, we want to populate this part. So how do we do that? And this is what we're doing. Update table already existing. What is the table? Then we say, what column do we want to update? So set that column to some value where then the student ID is 5. So we're just saying in this student ID 5, we want to set this now part to CSC, and that is basically what we are having there. Okay, so adding a foreign key, okay, let me ask, are we good up to this point? Because we want to now okay, Teresa, welcome. We want now to venture into the very basics that we need for our advanced database. So please, I want you to pay total attention to that. Okay, so okay, so we'll get back to that section. If we want to okay, let us just start from here. Adding a foreign key. So we want now to venture into what we are calling joining. Okay, let me try and look for the part of joining, so that I don't know how I okay, I didn't. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna teach it like this. Okay, supposing you are writing, I want you to write this, because I just remember I didn't include it there. So please get some type of get some type of where to write, maybe some type of paper, and basically start writing, because we want to venture into the very foundation of your advanced database. So a minute would be, wouldn't be bad. A minute wouldn't be bad. Okay, I guess people have got where to write. So we start with the definition of a key. You're going to need that. What is a key in relation to database? Okay. Let me ask first. Have we got to where to write? A pen and a paper or a book or something? Kindly give me a thumbs up. Kindly give me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, thank you for thumbs ups. In relation to databases and my SQL, or SQL in general, a key, how can I put it? How can I put it? I'm looking for words. Okay, I would say the good example. Okay, the good example, wherever you leave your room, you stay, a lot of you in a room, like in campus, boarding house, and the like. Most of the times, people do have what we are calling bags and trunks. They buy locks, and those locks help to secure one's belongings. So in relation, uh, uh, in relation to database, a key is like a label. Okay, basically, I would say something before. We want to ensure that you understand the scenario before giving its database way. It's basically something, because I'm short of words, that uniquely identify your table. Okay, a key is something, because if you lock your your locker, on your trunk, your bag, only you, basically, or someone that has an access to to that is going to open. So that is just unique to yourself. I'm trying by all means to put words together. So in relation to database, a key is like an ID. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. So you can't be a UNZA student without having an ID. That ID is the passport that you have, because everyone else can get a UNZA t-shirt. Anyone else can print anything to do with UNZA, but not someone who is not admitted at UNZA can have an access to an ID, because that is uniquely offered to you, and in rare cases, if not, two people will have the same ID. So you can have the same numbers there: 2024, 17, 12, 13. The other person 2024, 17, 12, 14, and so on and so forth. So that uniquely identify you. Okay? In relation to database, a key is basically a column that uniquely identify a table. A key is a column or set of columns that uniquely identify a table. It can be one column, two columns, and so on and so forth. But someone can say, how come a table can have more than one key? Basically, that is possible because there are a number of keys that we are looking at. We are looking at primary key, we are looking at foreign key, we are looking at unique key, we are looking at all these keys. So a key, supposing you are writing, a key is a column that uniquely identify a table. A key is a column. A key is a column that uniquely identify a table. A key is a column that uniquely identify, or a set of columns that uniquely identify a table. And among the keys that we have, one of them is what we are calling a primary key. Okay. No, we want a primary key. We want to talk about a primary key. Okay. So one of them is what we are calling a primary key. How did I write this? Okay, so a primary key, supposing you are writing, this was an honest mistake. I meant a foreign key when writing here. Supposed to be a foreign key. A primary key is basically a column that is number one, unique. A primary key is a column that is number one, unique. Number two, not now. That is what we are calling a primary key. Let's see. Okay, we will talk about this in a minute. We'll talk about this in a minute. Okay, so I didn't put joins here. How come? I didn't put joins here because that's what we want to talk about. We have to talk about joins. We have to talk about joins. Okay, just before that, I would want you to be writing what I will be saying, because I feel like I didn't put joins here. Okay, so one of the keys is what we are calling a foreign key. A foreign key is just a primary key in another table. So let's say given two tables, one table is called students, the other table is called the lecturers. Then in the lecturers, we put what we are calling a primary key. It is not null and unique. It means no two lecturers should have the same information in that column. Okay? And every lecturer in that column must be filled. So when you get that primary key and put in another table called students, that key become foreign. The good example is you as a Zambian, you are a primary citizen in here. When you go outside the country, you become a secondary citizen, okay? You become a foreigner. So you just move from one country to another. That is the same concept. You are primary key. When you get that primary key into another table, it becomes foreign key. How is it important? It is the key that establishes the link between two tables. So when you want to join two tables, basically it is going to the moment you go to Zimbabwe, for example, you are a Zambian, you go to Zimbabwe, there is that relationship that is going to be established. You can talk to people back home, they can order something through you and all that. So in this case, this key establishes the link or relationship between two tables. That is very important. What are the benefits of this foreign key? I meant foreign. It creates the link or relationship between two tables, which is hard to manipulate. Okay, it can be found in another table, supposing we needed to retrieve it in other ways. So, for example, so let us create this. We have create table for customers. Then we say customer ID. Then we say int. I meant int here. int. That is the data type. Primary key. We put this as a primary key, which is the customer ID. Then we say auto increment. We want this part to be updated automatically. Then we have the first name and the second last name for this customer ID. Then the data type is variable character, 50 and 100 there. Please, there must be a comma here, but the last column doesn't need to have a comma. Okay, there must be a comma here. So you create this table with 3 columns. Okay, then when you say select all, you are going to have things like that. When you want to insert into these customers, remember, and this is what we wanted to talk about, since we say this primary key must be auto incremented. How do you populate that? Basically, how to populate that, you don't populate auto increment. Instead, you populate any other columns except for auto incremented, and you just put the auto increment, and there must be a space here between auto and increment. There must be a space. So so what we are saying is the auto increment is only applied on the primary key. As long as it's not a primary key, no need for auto increment. The moment you say, okay, this is a key, then you put auto increment, you need to just populate these remaining columns. And how do you populate that? Same thing, you say set into customers. You need to explicitly put up the columns that you want to populate. In this case, the columns are first name and the last name. So you have to put it there. First name, last name. Then you begin. After that, you put values. Okay? First name and the last name. What happens to customer ID? The customer ID is auto incremented. So those IDs are going to be automatically generated. Okay? So now you say my name there, Chawe is there, Nyambe Sepiso, that is the last name, small boy, for example, Chubby baby, for example, if that name do exist. You can put as many as you want. So comma, 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 the last guy just put that. And when okay, let's see let's see okay, so this is what we're talking about there. So now you're going to have something like this. These are going to be automatically generated. Okay, then you create another table called transactions, transaction ID. You put a primary key there, auto increment. That means you just populate the price and product name. Remember, the price is decimal because we want to put some words, and this is unique. What we're just saying, no two products should have the same name. That's why we put unique there. This is not a comma, the comma is here. Okay, so when you want to insert now product name and the price, basically you are going to have something like that, and you put mango, that price, lemon, that price, nuts, that price, guavas, that price over there. Why didn't I put what we wanted? Because we want something very, very important. We want something very important. Why didn't I put that? I prepared. I don't know why. Primary key, price decimal. Wanted. We want that. Okay, I just want you to write this. Please do write. So I didn't put this in there. Just give me a minute. I didn't put this in there. Key. Oh no, I didn't put it in there. I didn't. So let me just very quickly make a PDF and present this. Very important. I didn't put it in there. Please pardon me. Please pardon me. Just give me a few minutes. I will be back. I knew I prepared. I knew I prepared, but I don't know. Kindly give me a thumbs up if at all you're able to see this. Very, very important. I think this is what we are missing of all, because I guarantee you. Kindly give me a thumbs up if you are able to see this, because this is the roadmap to your advanced database. I guarantee you need to understand this. I think the exam before us was full of these concepts, just what is happening in the background, and that is what we're gonna be talking about. Please give me a thumbs up. I think I still have a few people in there. Danny, Fanny, Teresa, kindly give me a thumbs up. Danny's cool. Teresa, Fanny, please give me a thumbs up if everything is clear, so that we talk about this. Thank you. Okay, so this is what I think what I was missing. So we start. This concept is very, very important for you to understand. Joins. I guarantee you your advanced database will be full of joins, full of functions that we're gonna talk about. And can somebody please unmute themselves? Do we have we started learning advanced database? Can please somebody mute themselves? No. Okay. Right. So joins. So basically you have to know what a join is. So we are saying a join is a clause that is used to combine. Basically, let's talk about this in real life. There is, for example, you guys decides to marry, decides to date. You are bringing two parties together, whichever way it is going to end. Whether a boyfriend and a girlfriend, it ends there. At some point, you were together, or at some point, you are together. Okay? Two distinct people based on the common interest. That is the reason why in real life you don't just date anyone. You need to have to find the common ground, right? I think this is one of the reasons you keep saying, no, I can't date that person, is in my type, blah blah blah, and the like. That was just a real world example. In terms of database, we're talking about a join is a clause that is used to combine rows. Okay, you have two tables. Okay, you have this table called customer. You also have this table. This is customers, which is basically the same. Don't we have another table? Okay. Okay, we'll look at that. So a clause is a join is basically a clause that is used to combine rows from two or more tables. So basically, we have this table, you have this table. And in real life, for example, you approach a girl, she'll be like, okay, let me think about it. That doesn't mean you guys are going to fully engage into dating. For example, I'm using that as an example. Please don't take my word for it. So a join is a clause that is used to combine rows. You don't combine tables. That's why we'll talk about types of joining. So you are combining rows, not tables themselves. Okay, you can decide to combine just two rows. One row from this table, one row from this table, one row from this table, two rows from this table, three rows from this table, two rows from this table, and so on and so forth. Or you can choose to combine all the rows from both tables. That is very important. So don't say a join is a clause that combines tables. No, you are not combining tables. You are combining rows. Okay? From two, of course, that's the minimum, or more tables based on their related column. That's why we say it based on the common interest. And that's the reason we talked about the foreign key. A foreign key is basically a primary key in a different table, which establishes the link or relationship between two or more tables. So, okay, please pardon me for that. Okay, that is a clause that is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on their related columns, such as the foreign key. And we have a primary key there in these customers. So when we say select all from customers, we're gonna have that. Then we insert into customers first name and the last name. Why are we putting these columns specifically? It is because the first column is auto incremented. Very important. Okay, then we put fried fish, first name, fried fish for this customer, Larry, lobster, barbel fish, poppy, puff, and so on and so forth. So when you say select all from customer now, we're gonna have something like that. First column automatically generated because it's auto incremented. Okay, and that is what we're going to have there. So there are types of joining that we have to talk about now. Types of joining. We have what we are calling inner join. Okay, so inner join or basically join. Okay, so how do you join two tables together? So you have two tables, the left table and the right table. Okay, so first thing you do is select that table. Inner join is also called a join. Okay, inner join is also called a join. So select O, that is in inner join. From, you mention the left table. Then a keyword inner join or simply join. Then you mention the right table. Okay, on, very, very important. Select O from, that means you want rows, all rows from the left table which are going to inner joined to the right table on. Okay, so table on the left, then dot name of the foreign key column, which we'll look at in a minute. You need to use the equal sign, table on the right, dot name of the primary key column. Let us repeat this. Select O. This is applied to inner join. From table on the left, which is going to be inner joined to the table on the right. On, very, very important. Table on the left, dot name of the foreign key column equals, okay, table on the right key column dot name of the primary key column. So basically it's not that difficult. What we're just saying is you just need the table on the left and the table on the right and just mentioning inner join, then on here, okay, then the table on the left, that's what we have. Okay, this table on the left, since that is what you started with, that's what you start with. Dot, what do they have in common? Foreign key. Equals table on the right, which is this. Then primary key. That's what we're saying. So if this is the primary key in the right table, that primary key will become a foreign key in the left table. That's why we are doing basic at that. So let's look at that. Select O from the table on the left, which is the customer. Inner join, you have a transaction. On the table on the on the left, which is customers dot transaction ID. So this transaction ID is a foreign key in this. But remember, if you leave Zambia, you go to Zimbabwe, you're still the same person. Okay? So basically, there is no difference between this transaction ID and that transaction ID. Only that you say equals table on the right, which is the transactions, dot transaction ID. So this transaction ID is the primary key here, but this transaction ID, because it's a primary key here, it will become the foreign key there. And that's what we do. So the inner join joins all the rows and all the columns in two or more tables. That is very, very, very important. So when we select, we're gonna have this ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A table on the left, we are going to have customer names, those. Then this is inner join. Okay, this is inner join. So IDs. Okay, so this is a foreign here, but this is a primary here. That's why it is on the right. This is on the left. So this is the primary here, this is a foreign here. So a clause is a join, a clause, a join is a clause that that combines two tables. So you have this table for customer and you have this table for transaction. So this transaction here, which join two or more columns based on foreign key. That's what we have there. And you are going to have those dates for transaction and those IDs for customers. Is that good? Kindly give me a thumbs up. Is that good? Okay, good. We will be done very soon. Let us just look at another concept called functions. You can't afford not knowing the functions. We will talk about them in advanced databases. What is a function? A function is just a program, okay, which you can pass parameters into to return a value. Okay. In other words, when triggered, it also triggered other functions. What example can we give in real life? In real life. Let's take an example of an expectant mother. So this mother is expecting to deliver in a few months' time. Now she's beaten up. You guys beating up that woman before delivering, it will trigger her having miscarriage. She can miscarriage. So beating her is beating up what is in the womb. That is, I think that is one of the perfect examples. You are beating one person, but that beating of that person will affect what is in the womb. That is basically the same thing. So when triggered, when a function is triggered, it also triggers other functions to actually execute. So when you pass in a value, it returns, when you pass in parameters, it returns a value. So for example, when you say 1 plus 1, the answer is 2. So instead of ending at 1 plus 1, those are the parameters. You pass in 1 as the parameters, and it brings 2 as a parameter, as a value. So one of the functions is called the sum function. Okay. So when you say select sum, then you pass in amount there. For example, there's a column called amount. As amount, we're gonna look at that. Otherwise, it's called an alias. Okay. It is ELIAS. ELIAS, that is alias. We're gonna look at that in advanced database. An alias is basically a nickname. So from transaction where my date is equals to that. So first of all, we are going to go into the transaction. Okay, then we were passing in amount there, where my date is that. So we go in here. What is the date? 24th 04/27. So 24th 04/27, this is the column that we need. Okay, then we need we are passing in the amount in that case. Transaction name, transaction ID, customer name, and all. So supposing we have a column amount, we pass in amount here. So this is a function. Okay, this is just a function. So you pass in a parameter here, then you say I want the sum of all the amount that we are having as at that date. So the syntax here select, then the function, column name. A function can be the sum, and so on and so forth. We'll look at some of them there. As the name of a column from the table, then this is general. That is what we are basically saying. Some of the functions that we have is max, to find the maximum, average, to find the average, basically adding what we have, then dividing by how many times it is appearing, a minimum basically of 2 or 4, sum like we've looked at, amount, and concat. Concat means concatenate, like in Java, putting 2 or more things together. And basically that gives us an end to this. I will share this in a moment in the group. Kindly give me a thumbs up if we are okay with this. I will share this so that on Thursday we have an introduction to databases. Or to advanced databases, so to speak. We're gonna use a few slides, 2 or 3, for the lecturer. I think the rest I have prepared. Okay, kindly give me a thumbs up, otherwise ask your question. I think we have come to an end for this. Okay, Teresa is fine. Perfias, Wankumbu, Fanny, Danny. Kindly give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. Right. Have a pleasant evening. Otherwise, we end here. Good night, and see you on Thursday.